Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant News and another massive day yesterday in the VCT main event. A huge series for Sentinels to win if they want to have any decent chance of qualifying for the playoffs. That doesn't work out in their favour. Sinatraa reckons they need him back if this team wants to get back to the top. Very much intrigued your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Loads of great support on the verge of 18,000 subscribers. Just love to see it. First, just wanted to mention this, the Valorant times. You guys might have seen this the last few days. If you see anything from this account, it is just kind of tongue-in-cheek. It's just trolling. It's just memes, but often they're rather funny, so I thought I'd bring one up right here. Just wanted to say this as well, because there have, of course, been loads of talk about Chamber, the fact that Chamber is still used. I thought this is an interesting take, actually, from Ethan. Of course, they're in action later on today, the NRG guys. They play tonight. But, yeah, I mean, the fact that Chamber, with the kind of nerf that they made, getting rid of one of his traps, it means that the other team, like, effectively the rest of the agent composition has to kind of adapt for that, right? And you have to choose an agent composition in order to still actually, get some information that Chamber can no longer provide. But Chamber himself actually hasn't really been nerfed at all, right? He still has the operator, exactly the same as it was. He still has the teleport. All the things that made Chamber good, he still has, right? And it's kind of the rest of the team that actually gets nerfed by the fact that Chamber is now slightly worse than he was before, but still, of course, getting picked pretty much every single series. This is also a big deal. We talked about it a little bit ago, the fact that Jampy was saying on stream that he was going to go back to Counter-Strike. He certainly wanted to. There was even rumours he wanted to go back this October after Champions is over, right, and move back to CS. Now, he's kind of denied, like, it's interesting, actually, the fact that he said that a few days ago, and now he's changed tune to a degree. Maybe because, like, look, even if he does want to go back, I mean, you see us go in his Twitter handle right here, but even if he does want to go back to that scene, then maybe he doesn't want to, like, maybe let on to his organisation, the rest of his team, like, he wants to leave, because that's probably not going to do great things for, let's say, the internal team dynamic. But this is what he says last night: I have zero interest in going back to CS right now. I'm super committed to Valorant. I want to win everything in Valorant, he reckons. So we'll see how that goes, to be honest, right? I'm sure he still does have, high goals for Valorant, but if he does want to go back, that's another question entirely. We shall see how things progress here, but obviously it would be a big loss for Team Liquid if he does decide to leave, just because, well, he's pretty much been their best player for quite some time now, or he's at least up there, right? He's one of the forces that makes Liquid a very good team. Now, I want to talk about the EMEA region real quick, a kind of interesting series. Guild played big last night. This one goes game 3, close fought affair, but Guild end up taking it in the end in a 2-1 fashion, and then the final series was FPX versus G2. This one was again close at this early round right here. Like, it looked like G2 had a good advantage here on the fracture, but they end up losing this game. They lose the second map as well, and well, they fall short. So these are the series results, or at least as we can see. Now these are what the groups look like in the European side. FPX have moved to 1-1, G2 1-1 as well, so that was a huge series victory for FPX in this one, and Guild now 2-0, Big 0-2. So already things are taking shape in the European sides. G2 slipping now into the bottom 3. I mean, this group A is absolutely stacked. We've got a send already, G2 here, like, things are getting very spicy, there's no doubt. Let's dive into the North American side then. So 2 massive games yesterday. TSM versus 100 Thieves was another one. They've played so many times recently. They played twice in the first open qualifier where TSM qualified. TSM won both series, and I felt like when I did the predictions yesterday, they were absolutely terrible. There's some, maybe 100 Thieves finally, because they were improving drastically, it seems, over the last few weeks, really, from from getting through the qualifiers. They had a really good run towards the end. They dominated the guard. I thought that, okay, well, 100 Thieves, they might be back, baby, and maybe, TSM are gonna, well, have a hard time taking down 100 Thieves again. This was maybe a more competitive series than we might have seen before, but still, TSM were really solid this series. I'm very impressed by them, and it does kind of make me wonder, with the words that Wardell said a few days ago, like, yeah, he didn't really see much potential in this team, therefore didn't want to move to Texas, this type of stuff, like, and now what they're doing in this team, you kind of wonder what Wardell's thinking about. We'll actually see his words on here in a second. But yeah, TSM early on here on the split. Sabrosa had some massive rounds early on, as did GMT. They look like a really well-oiled team, and Asuna, I must say that there was even some comments, I think, from Angel from FPX, that, like, why is Sky being used here for Asuna? Apparently, that's not really the meta anymore that people use. He doesn't reckon that's a particularly good idea, so there's always some questions about the compositions. There's been so much talk about compositions lately, like whether you should even use duelists. Do you need Chamber on absolutely every map? There's so many questions that these teams are trying to answer, right? And I do feel like 100 Thieves have a bit of more inexperience than the TSM guys do in this series, seem to show that to a degree, but still, TSM are a relatively new team. I really like both of these compositions, and I think they have a good chance to do something here at the playoffs, but of course, whether they get there, that's another question. There certainly are some teams that they probably won't get there. We'll see that here in a second. Now, Will, of course, from the 100 Thieves side, he makes a nice little play here to bounce the back on the raise. This was a crucial round to keep 100 Thieves alive, and at this point, it felt like, okay, hang on a second here. They might be in a chance of actually doing something, right? We're making a nice play to get them within one round, but all of a sudden, TSM bounced back on their offense. They end up winning this one, I believe, 13-10, and the second game was honestly not particularly close. It was 9-2, it was 10-4 here on the Haven, yeah, once you're on the defensive side here, it's going to be tough to do much. Now, Dephh does make a massive clutch here with the bull bulldog to keep the kind of dream alive for 100 Thieves, but yeah, in the end, it's not quite enough for them. So Derek, I thought individually, he played great this series. I feel like, I mean, yeah, not sure really how 7 did get the trade there, but still, the shots from Derek were rather nice, and this was 10-5, but still, it wasn't enough in the end, and it's a 2-0 versus 100 Thieves, as Sabrosa says, keep doubting, boys. So he kind of likes the doubters, he likes the kind of haters, saying what they want about TSM, because they're making moves lately, so they might be back, 100 Thieves might be back as well, but maybe just not quite as good as TSM right now, or for some reason, when they play this particular TSM roster, they just can't get over the line, and as Asuna says, you know, played bad, 1-1 now. We'll look at the stats here in just a second, and this from Wardell. Wardell is the problem, right? A bit of a difficult time for him given the situation that, you know, he gets removed off the demon all of a sudden now. They're looking rather good. Series stats look like this, TSM 2-0, like, yeah, Corey goes double positive, GMD, Sabrosa, all these guys were going off. I mean, yeah, that's the thing, the chamber here on Corey was very hard to stop. Derek had a great series, pretty much everyone else got bodies. Like, yeah, Asuna on the Sky, both maps, didn't seem to be the factor, so maybe they have to think about what they do with their composition going forward as well. But yeah, an impressive couple of maps. The Haven as well was dominant at 13-6. They honestly never looked like slowing down, and Corey was an absolute monster. So impressed by TSM, but a team that I really wasn't impressed by. In fairness, I was rather impressed by Evil Geniuses here, but Sentinels, like, look, they did lose all 4 pistols in this series. That makes things rather difficult for them, but you know, still, if you are the better team, you should be able to bounce through that. The economy isn't quite as brutal in this game as it can be in Counter-Strike at times, but you know, dapr's making a rotate over to B. Sentinels win one obviously crucial round right here. dapr holds down the site, and you know, this of course gets them back in the business here on Ascent early on, but honestly, EG, they looked good. I want to give them their credit, but Sentinels again really have to figure out what's going on. Individually, they weren't really all at the races today. There's been some talk about, is Kanpeki actually the best player in that particular role? It's really difficult to figure out what they're planning to do, to be honest, and to actually turn this team around, because Evil Geniuses and Luminosity Gaming, the first 2 teams that they played, were, well, of course they had to beat both of these teams. They have a very difficult group over there in Group B. Their first 2 matches were theoretically their easier ones. They had that, you know, great little 10-map win streak, or yeah, 10-map win streak in the 5 series they won in the losers bracket to qualify through the second qualifier, but they come here against the 2 easiest opponents they're going to play, and yeah, Apoth has a massive round. Like, you've got to give some credit to Evil Geniuses. I don't want to take away too much from their performance in this series, but look, again, the way Sentinels, where they should be compared to the type of teams that they're losing to, like, look, this was a close series, but they really shouldn't be losing series like this, and if they're losing series like this, they simply have no chance, it seems, to beat some of the top dogs that they're going to need to if they want to qualify through. This was, to me, kind of the player of the series here from Reformed. Thought it was a really interesting idea here on the icebox, when as the plant comes through, he puts up the Sage Wall to cancel the plant and gets the kill on Sick as well. So I thought that was really nice here. Of course, the Sage comes in very handy on icebox, but yeah, a really interesting concept and idea that I've never really seen anyone do before, and yeah, it works out for Evil Geniuses. This is a massive round for them. They end up closing out game 1, I think it was 13-11 on Sentinel's pick, and then game 2 goes Evil Geniuses' way, once again a 13-10, and credit to Draw Gamer. Like, I think this guy is great. I think the talent on EG is certainly worthy of note, but they're not exactly one of the strongest teams in the group on paper, and yeah, getting 2-0 here, Sentinels again, is just not the sign that they want to have. TenZ had, you know, even by his standards, a relatively hard time, as Kanpeki does say, look, we lost all 4 pistols, that's going to make it difficult, but yeah, them qualifying now is very much out of the question in a way, just because as TenZ right here, also now 0-2 in the group, and their next 3 games get even harder than this one. So in treating perspective, what exactly Sentinels should do, like, there was some talk about this, some initial reaction here from Zoms. I believe Zoms had even put on like a $2,000 bet or something that Sentinels were going to lose this series. I think that's what he's talking about there at the end. Okay, come on, pay me my 2K for predicting them to lose. And Sinatraa also says after watching game 1 that, like, look, they need to bring me back if this team wants to have success. So not even sure what this team does at this point to improve, but you know, at this rate, they're probably not going to make playoffs. They probably should still have enough points, I'm guessing, to make the last chance qualifier, but between now and then, they might have a different team, who knows.
GG.
Holy bro.
TenZ did not pop off.
Evil Genius win.
That was Sentinels map pick too.
Oh my god. Sinatraa sub in? Take over?
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably win.
Probably
like,
would.
No, actually, we would.
Wow.
Bet against him. He bet against him.
It's not over, bro.
Nah, it's over.
I'm praying for TenZ to win this, bro. Sentinels get 2-0'd,
It's not over, bro.
Bro.
Oh, oh, bro, that's unlucky.
Chase
No?
me up, brother. Tragic.
Oh, where's Prod?
Here.
Send me 2K.
Can I send you Ethereum?
No, I don't want Ethereum.
Oh well, I don't have paper right now, so.
What?
Sick reveals, he's been having kind of a hard time, I'll be honest, really been going through it lately. Sorry towards the fans, GG. We go again next week. So it's still possible they qualify, but their run does not get any easier. These are the remaining 3 games that they play. One of them is against Optic. So next week they play Optic, they then play FaZe after that, then Cloud9. So like, look, FaZe are a beatable team right now. They're not looking so good, as are of course our Sentinels. Beating Optic though is going to be a very hard ask. And if they can't beat Optic and they go 0-3, even if they beat FaZe and they somehow beat Cloud9 and get better or whatever the case might be, and they're probably going to lose to Optic, let's be honest at this point. Like, Optic are best team in the world, Masters champions. Like, if they beat them, that'd be something extraordinary. But if they go 0-3 after the Optic series, like, the best they can do is 2-3. At that point, the best they can realistically do in the group is top 4, and top 4 gets you to playoffs, but it makes you start in the losers bracket at playoffs, which means you have to win 5 series straight or something to actually win the entire thing, which more than likely isn't going to happen. Maybe it's just 4 series straight, but of course it puts you on the back foot already, even if you can qualify, and that relies on them beating FaZe and Cloud9, which if you can't beat Evil Geniuses or Luminosity Gaming, is probably not going to happen. The maps individually were close, but in terms of performances, it really wasn't too close. If we look across the board here, Kanpeki had a pretty hard time. Like, he was on the chamber. Like, it's just interesting what Sentinels decide to do sometimes. Like, at the full-time sofa, of course, I guess can make sense, but TenZ didn't have his greatest series, and that is the thing. If TenZ doesn't go off, this team just loses. That's just how it is. They're so reliant on him with the first bloods and everything. Like, he's going 9-10 in terms of first kill, first sets, which, I mean, even then, of course, he's way above the rest. I guess that kind of makes sense. But yeah, I think this team just seems kind of chalked. I'm not even sure what you do with it, to be honest. Sinatraa reckons they need to bring him back. Not sure if that's even possible yet with the kind of training that Sinatraa is meant to be doing. I don't know what's happening anymore. But yeah, another bad day at the office for Sentinels. And it's obviously not getting any easier, as we just looked at. These are then the groups as they sit right now. So Sentinels are still above FaZe technically, I guess, on the kind of map win-loss percentage here, which I guess is slightly better for Sentinels than it is for FaZe. But they're both 0-2. LG, Optic, Cloud9 are still here. So probably like these 4 teams, I mean, right now they're obviously in a good spot, having all won a series doesn't get easier for Sentinels. But yeah, Group A is honestly so hectic. We've got cNed NRG, they play of course tonight, but this Group A is looking incredibly competitive outside of, surprisingly, the Guards, the North America Stage 1 champions, and then we've got Optic versus Cloud9 tonight as well. These are the games in the European side. So we've got Na'Vi versus former Gambit M3 champions, Focus versus Ascenders, the other one, and then in North America, Optic Cloud9, that is a banger, and cNed NRG as well. But there's so many sporting and esporting moments going on later on today as well. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button, tell us your YouTube God, this is a good video, others like you should see it as well, and I've grown the competitive Valorant community. Thank you for watching as always, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.